Teaching English does not have to be soulless. It doesn't matter what you've heard, what you've seen, or what you think you know. It does not have to be soulless. My name is Kay. I'm also known as Teacher Kay, and I'm the founder of Sincerely Teaching. And I believe that both students and teachers should be able to thrive while teaching or learning the English language. And to me, that means teaching the language in a way that strengthens students' identity and allows teachers to be their full selves. It means teaching the language as it is and not the image that it is. Showing the faces, places, and voices that make up the English-speaking world and not the narrow image that has been pushed for so long and rides on the coattails of colonialism. And reclaiming our right to be exactly who we are, unapologetically and sincerely. English language learners are being failed by the industry. Things may have been done a certain way for a very long time, but it's become painfully obvious that it's not working for a lot of people, especially when you have people who have been studying this language since they were in grade school and they're afraid to talk. They're ashamed of how they sound. They don't feel they've reached the level or are capable of reaching the level that they want. On top of that, there are many who fail to be reached due to the way that the language is presented, taught, and how students are dealt with as they learn the language. With so many being made to feel inferior or unfit to learn the language. And let me tell you, this way may have been done for a long time, but it's no longer going to work in our current climate. The world has evolved and continues to evolve. We have wars, natural disasters, uprisings, revolutions, people finding their power and not settling for the way things have always been done. And the way we've done things is no longer sufficient, and we need education for today, for right now. It's no longer okay to ignore all the things going on and affecting people learning and just say, hi, my name is, and act like they're going to actually be able to learn in that kind of environment. And I want to give a disclaimer. I teach English to adults as a second or additional language independently. I don't work for a language school, and I never have and do not work for a public school system. Although teachers in both those contexts can certainly benefit from what I'm saying, it can be best applied to language teachers who work independently or aspire to. With the precarious conditions around the world, as well as the bubbling potential of revolution, we need people who can truly get us, people who can adapt to our situation and not pretend nothing is happening. For effective learning to take place, for people to actually develop and grow beyond where they are, we as teachers have to be able to see them, not just as a student, but as a person. We have to be able to understand the context in which they're learning. I had the privilege personally of living in my students' culture when I lived and taught in Sao Paulo, Brazil for close to 4 years. I was able to experience what they experienced on their way to class and after class, all the things that, a student had to go through just to get there, and the messages that they got every day about language, learning, and the world outside of their country. I was really able to see what blocked them socially and mentally from being able to effectively learn that language. And you don't necessarily have to live in your students' culture to develop that understanding, but it does help a lot. But what I can say is daring to show examples, stories, images, narratives, communities, people, voices that go beyond the image they've always been shown, and that allow them to see themselves in the language, to see new and different possibilities in the language, can be incredibly empowering. And especially as someone who is a part of a community that is not represented in ESL and that is largely erased, it was very hard for me as a teacher to be teaching material and perspectives that erased my own identity and culture. And I think it's very important for teachers to feel included in what they're doing, because really we are all a part of the English speaking world, and all of our stories, backgrounds, histories, ancestries, they make up what it is. They make the English language what it is, yet we don't teach this way. When we step into a classroom or when we start a class, it's like we are kind of in this fantasy of what the culture is, what the people look like, what the people don't look like, how they sound. People refer to friends a lot as if that's a realistic experience of an everyday American or North American. And these things can really alienate students and teachers who are not a part of those cultures or fit those images. Now, this may sound far-fetched, idealistic, or maybe it sounds like a breath of fresh air. I don't know. But I would be very grateful if you could let me know how it lands for you in the comments. It may also sound like a risk, but I want to tell you it's a huge opportunity. Students are looking for real people that can help them with their real life needs. Learning English most of the time goes way beyond learning a language for the sake of learning the language, but achieving important life goals. And there's other things that students need to be able to effectively learn and achieve the goals that they want to achieve, whether it is mobility, like to move to another country, or in their career, or in their business, or in their studies. You know, this matters a whole lot. And a lot of times it serves as a barrier to things that they really want to do. But what I can say, again, is that so many students are being failed by the industry and the current standard of teaching, the current paradigm of ESL. And so many fail to be reached due to the way it's being done, due to the way the language is being presented, due to the messages that are being sent out to students directly and indirectly. And to make this shift, you really don't need a lot, except a willingness, a real willingness to reflect, to really go deep on your own experiences, to recognize what is going on and what is really being said and done, and the mechanics of this industry and the way the language is taught and presented, and develop an understanding of that and be able to apply it to the betterment of others, namely your students. Through my own experience, I've gone from feeling totally alienated, isolated, erased, teaching strictly business English, to having really fulfilling student-teacher relationships that feel like friends, where you're helping people to achieve meaningful life goals, develop true confidence, and really break through the barriers that have been set up for them in this industry. And it's an incredible feeling. If this sounds like something that you would like to do, subscribe, stay tuned, because there's more coming. And this is our journey. You're not alone. If you felt like teaching English or the ESL industry has felt soulless to you, especially if you are a person of color like me, you're not alone. And this is the start of a new journey. And I invite you to join me, Sincerely Teaching.